On this episode, you're going to listen into a live coaching call revolved around the philosophy of how do we structure our days off. Welcome back to another episode of the Upgrade My Rituals podcast. My name is Kevin McKellar, the host, and this is the show for stressed out overachievers who are looking for a way to design their ideal day. So instead of trying to focus on so many different positive habits in their lives, what they want is a system of daily routines that when their head hits the pillow at the end of the day, they feel great about what everything they've actually accomplished that day and where their life is headed, what trajectory they're on. And that is done through a specific system of daily routines. So today is a little bit of a different scene, a little different scenario. I'm actually editing the video right now as I record this intro, and we're going to be listening into a live coaching call that I had with actually an old friend of mine, Abhinn from college, and he reached out and said, "Hey, I love what you're doing. I'm interested if you can help me out with a dilemma I've been having with some of my routines." And what happened was we talked a lot about the days off, right? And what he wanted to do was he wanted to structure his days off, and he wanted to either get a whole bunch of things done, but at the same time relax, but at the same time feel good about what he did. So it was a real dilemma that he had with his days off. So in this call, we focus on the philosophy around whether or not you should actually dig into your days off or just kind of let them fly by the seat of your pants. So take a listen into my call with Abhinn.
I had to go in this morning for the pledge drive that's coming up this weekend. So it was just like a quick 1 hour meeting at 12 o'clock. And it's like a 15-minute drive, so it wasn't that bad. But I did feel horrible this morning because I woke up to my alarm and I turned it off. And I told my girlfriend earlier, I was like, I felt so great. I opened up like my eyes wide open. I was like, wow, like I feel really rested. And then I hit the pillow again, and then I woke up at so that was at it was like 9:15 is when I set my alarm, and I was like, God, I feel rested, like I can start my day. And then before I knew it, it was like 11:30 again, and I was just like, oh my God, why did I do that? But that I just moved past that. I got ready, took the dog out, and then I went to my meeting. After that, I had to every other week I get groceries on my day off, so I did that. I came home, put everything away, and then the other day, I mean, the weather's super nice here today. It was in low 70s today, so I literally just put my phone on the counter. I grabbed my house keys and I grabbed the leash, and I took the dog on a 2 hour walk to like around the city, and I like forgot everything, and just like I didn't bring headphones, I didn't bring anything. I just like, let's go. We're just going. Sunglasses and car and house keys, and we just went for a great walk. She was dead through like the first, the last hour of it. And then I came home, I made dinner, and so like today I feel like it was more of a productive day off. But like now I'm thinking ahead to, I don't always do this, but now I'm thinking ahead to next week. It's like, well, I don't have to get groceries next week. I could go on another walk, like that, something like that. But I don't want to. I feel like I sit at home if I don't have to do errands, and I'll just like put on mindless TV or something like that. Um, and yeah, I'll think about like, oh, what can I do? Like, it's like try to find a project around the house, like do something. But then there are days where I do go grocery shopping, and I'm just like, God, I want to be home right now, even if it means nothing, doing nothing. So
Right. You don't want to be
it's yeah, it's
doing.
that kind of yeah, that kind of like damned if I don't, damned if I do, neither here nor there kind of thing, and seeing what I can really do to make those days off productive across the board.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question. What is the real goal for this one day off? Because let's not pretend Monday is a day off, because there's technically things you have to do and there's technically lessons you have to do. So this Wednesday that you have off every week, no matter what, at at the end of the day, what does a great day off look like and feel like to you?
Um, I
And if you
think,
don't know, that's okay.
yeah, I mean, I don't know, 100% every, hour by hour what that
No,
means, but I guess working backwards, going to bed, a reasonable time. If we're talking about chronotypes, I was definitely a wolf
yeah,
for a while,
sure. Well,
and
you're
like
yeah,
just
you're
with
working in the restaurant world, of course.
yeah, and with the new schedule of like needing to get up at 10, like I need to leave the house by 9:30 for the radio job. Um, it turned into, okay, come home. I have an hour maybe to watch Scrubs or do
Yeah,
something, and then I gotta hit the bed.
right.
But before that, my shifts always started at 3 o'clock, so I was up until 4, just like YouTube rabbit holes or
Sure.
something like that. And then, so I think, getting that 8 hours, which means, getting to bed reasonable time. Before that, girlfriend and I hanging out, that's perfect. Making dinner, I rarely, maybe twice or three times a week now I get to cook dinner, which before everything, I was cooking dinner every single night of the week for both of us. So like cooking a nice, something good for both of us, something that I can take my time on. It's not just like pizza in the oven or
Yeah.
something like that. And then, um, yeah, having some time outside, especially with the weather getting better now. Like whether it doesn't have to be a 2 hour walk or something like that, but even just like taking the dog with me to go to the CVS and picking up like shampoo and walking back, something
Sure.
like that. Um, and then, there's so much stuff to do that, another problem is like I sometimes have trouble motivating myself, or uh, beginning a project. So in other words, like I have like 6 or 7. I don't know if you can see, but we do jigsaw puzzles a lot. So we have
That's
like
awesome.
6 or 7 unopened, and every time I think about doing it, I start thinking about the process of it, and it immediately like sort of turns me off on doing that. So I
Gotcha.
need to get better about that. About just like, what, it's going to happen no matter what. So just, deal with it and go for it.
Okay, so I love this. So because I asked you how would you, I think I asked you how would it feel or what would it look like? What I meant to say was how would it feel? And you listed out the things that you would do on your day off. So you get your sleep, you'd hang with your girlfriend, you would have a nice, you cook actually for yourself and use your skill, and you'd really be in nature and get outside. Now, if you did all that and you did that consistently for a month, every day off, that was the only four things that you did. Well, three things that you did, and and you felt well rested. How would that feel to you?
Um, I would definitely feel recharged, number one. And
Okay.
I think I would feel, um, I guess content is the word I can think of off the top of my head, but I can feel, satisfied to be able to now say, okay, now it's back to work for 6 days or five
Right.
and a half days.
Right. Right. Okay. Now, so I'm glad you said that because that's great. Then it's just tactics, right? But in your email, it was like there is another side to this. So if you do all this, and okay, well, wait, let me actually maybe I'm reading too much into this. So if you do all this, now if there's I'm going to paint two other days off for you because you kind of alluded to this. There's this other day off on Wednesday where you run errands and you go grocery shopping, which is you told me like every other day or every other week. You run errands. There's something that has to get done for the radio job. It just you have to get it done. It's due by whatever it is, right? And you just like you find yourself you didn't have a day off. You just worked. Okay, that clearly so. Then there's the other. on the other end of that spectrum where you do nothing. Like you don't get out of bed, you just literally chill and just watch Netflix all day. So there's all these different spectrums, right? I'm assuming that's kind of what you were alluding to when you said like those are the. Am I right in painting those two other days for you?
To be honest, I've probably had all three of those days in this month.
Right, right. I mean, because it's your day off, and that's first of all that's okay. It's only not okay if it's not okay to you. Um, I'll give you before I go and ask some questions. I'll give you some more context. My weekends, I don't plan a single thing in the weekends. So sometimes the weekends are uh sucks. I mean, the last few months they've sucked because we've had a flood in the basement back in last October, and I've been working down here as much as I can to rip up the floor, put new flooring down, do all the trim mold. I mean, it's just and it's because I can't do anything during the week. So weekends have really sucked. Other times I feel like nothing gets done. So it's because I'm just like relaxing, whatever, which is rare now with the kiddo. But I agree with how you feel. Like I totally understand. I live exactly how you're living 2 days a week. Now, I'm actually very okay with that, and I'll tell you why. To me, because I'm married with a child, it's different. In my opinion, it's different. To me, I deliberately don't want to schedule any single thing on the weekends because if it's a really bad weekend that I bust my ass around the house and I'm working and I'm cleaning and I'm again going grocery shopping, just crap that I don't want to be doing. What I tell myself is my Monday through Friday is so dialed in that it's totally okay. I don't need those 2 days. I would like those 2 days, but I don't need them. I don't need them to progress on what I want to do. Um, so that's one thing. The other thing is if nothing gets done and I have a great time just kind of letting life come at me and we just, my wife and I take the kid up to down to Port Jeff and we just walk around and, have a good day out or whatever. It's a good, have lunch out or something like that's great because I had some family time and I kind of just, shut off. Um, at the same time, the same thought comes in. Okay, it's like, all right, I don't feel like I missed out on any time to say work on the business or work, practice my instrument. I just let life happen, and that's okay because my Monday through Friday is super super dialed in. So my first question is to you: if you wanted to take the route that I take and completely let Wednesday be a reminder that the fact that you have your other days scheduled so well, if you do, that's the next question. But the reminder is ultimately is like I'm completely in control of my life. So I'm completely in control of my time. And when I don't control it, this is what happens sometimes. Either it's negative or it's bad. And it's like a great reminder. Um, you're in a tricky situation though, because you have only one real day off. And I know I've been there before. And I know it's like gold because 2 days it's like well whatever I can always like do something it's a goal. I understand how that feels. So my first question is let's not even look at Wednesday. Let's pretend Wednesday doesn't exist. um let's look at every other day. How And I'm not going to ask you to map out all your other schedules, but like my question really ultimately is there any time in your other days to implement? I think you mentioned you were implementing some routines throughout the days that you do, like go in and work. And you said your usual shifts from Thursday to Sunday are 4 o'clock to 10 o'clock at the restaurant. Okay, so what is the day? What does the day up until 4 o'clock look like from at least on Thursday? Say Thursday, Friday, whatever.
Thursday, Friday, yeah. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, they're
Mm.
pretty. I would say they're pretty strict because in the morning I still have to do the radio gig. The radio gig's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
Oh, okay.
So I do that. I leave the house 9:30. I do that 10 to 2. I and they're it's up north and my restaurant is south. So I make a quick pit stop home and I grab like a granola bar or something because we get fed at the restaurant, and I'll change into the restaurant gear, and then I'll head straight down. So in terms of mapping that out, like you said, I think Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm pretty dialed in terms of
Yeah, yeah.
a schedule now.
Let me ask you: is there in that schedule? Is there anything that you're doing for yourself at all besides that granola bar? Which is, if no, that's okay. You don't have to. I'm just curious.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, it's late at night. If I see, it's like, okay, I do that math in my head of, okay, if I need 8 hours, I can go to bed at 1. Like I need to be asleep by 1 if I want my eight
Yeah.
hours, which now it's 11:15, so I have about an hour to like just do whatever.
Hmm.
So then I'll hop on, I'll hop on like YouTube or something,
Yep. And
and
go
just
down.
sort
Yeah.
of that relaxing sort of
Oh
mindless.
yeah.
I don't have to use my brain right now. I can just
Yeah.
whatever. um,
Yeah.
and I guess Saturdays and Sundays, because I don't do anything except the restaurant on Saturdays and Sunday
Yeah.
nights. um, so those mornings are kind of also open.
Yeah.
um, so if that means and there I don't really mind, like if I get up at 11.
Oh, of course.
And then
You have to, because you have to sometimes, same thing on the weekends. I don't set an alarm. I very rarely get to sleep later than I would, well, my body like to, you know. But so now let's back up 30,000 foot view. What is your ultimate goals and the things that you want to move forward in your life? Because if you come to me and you say, yeah, I want my days off a certain way, that's a very easy thing, just to have the goal of having a relaxing, fulfilling day off. That's super easy. If you tell me that I want to become a world class rock climber, then that's a whole different story, because now we have to find the time to go to the gym. So, what is it now? Let's take a 30,000 foot view. What is it that you want to see progress in your life? I know, kind of, we talked about, obviously, the music. Like, earlier, I asked you what is the dream job, and you told me that you're looking to work at a full time at a university. So, if that's the goal, do you feel like you're taking consistent actions towards that goal at least once a week?
yeah,
Okay.
I would say so. Even if it's just through the act of my Tuesdays being at that community college and teaching, and getting that rehearsal time in, to Monday nights, or even some time spent on Wednesday, if I find that time, uh, that 1 or 2 hour window where I can just sit down and look at the scores and say, okay, this is the stuff we need to work on this week in band rehearsal, stuff like that.
But to be clear, the community college is not your last stop, right? This is not your dream position there, right?
No, no,
Okay.
no. Yeah.
So what's the fastest path to your dream position? What is the fastest route that this job opens up, right? Um, for lack of a better word, if anybody's whatever, Juilliard, right? Juilliard, it's band program opens up, whatever, and they need a conductor, right? The job's posted. What's the fastest path to getting into that position?
um I mean,
Don't overthink the question.
yeah, I mean, obviously, just going for that job,
Right,
applying for that
right.
job, and
So let me ask,
having,
right. So let me ask
yeah.
you this, and it very well may be it, but do you have a system in place for looking at higher ed jobs, for looking at openings? Do you have a consistent schedule where you look at that?
No.
Okay. So now, imagine if all you did on the days that you are crunched, right? And all you have time for is that granola bar. If you put in one single routine, and your routine took 10 minutes, and all that was to check higher ed, right? The higheredjobs.org or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that feel just by once a week, you check that website. Just for some, who knows? You may have, I mean, you and I are in this situation where we both know, like, the community, like, you probably hear about the job opening before it's even posted. I understand that. But maybe not. Maybe they're trying to keep it under wraps or whatever. Would you feel better about things in general? Like, if you just said on Monday, like, I'm just gonna just that's my thing. Like, on Monday, when I go home, I'm just gonna, like, check. Like, would that mean anything to you?
Yeah, it probably
It's a
would.
very
Yeah.
small action.
And
It's a very, very small little thing, but I think what happens is we start holistically building on all this, right? So we start figuring out, like, okay, that's the job. Like, and then, like, if we want to, we paint this perfect ideal picture for what our physical health looks like. We paint this perfect picture of what our, relationships look like, and all these things. And that's actually one of the things that I do is I do an exercise. It's like the life vision, right? We just create this life, and it sounds very, like, like a little intense and overbearing, but it's a really good exercise to go through and say, like, all right, what is, like, we're trying to do these things. Like, I want to get a job at a university. I want to have a nice day off. I want to, like, what the hell, what am I going for? Right. And it's like, instead of just like the goals, we go even higher up and we say, what is the vision that we want our life to be? Like, what does it look like? So, like, when I go through this, I write down, okay, like, what's my purpose? What's my identity? What is the vision I have for a really fulfilling life? And what happens is I fill all that out and I write all that, and every year I kind of tweak it a little bit. But it took me, I did my first one about 8 years ago, 7 years ago, and it's pretty much remained the same somewhat. But I tweak it, and it's great because every year I look at, then once the vision is created, instead of randomly making goals for my life, I look at the areas that I want to improve. So from that vision, I have specific areas: relationships, finances, the business, um, you know, um, my physical body, and my mental health. Right. So just to name a few, like, and then I write a little kind of ideal situation of what that looks like. So what does my mental state look like? Well, I live in a vibrant and attentive state every day that's carefully manufactured from, a daily meditation and mantras, right? Okay. But then when it's times to create an annual goal, let alone a quarterly goal, then I just look at the areas that I want to improve from my vision. So I'm like, all right, well, this year I want to be, I want to lose 10% body fat. Okay, very specific goal. Great, that is right in line with my physical domain. So do you see kind of like how this all stems up? Because, like, we're kind of figuring out, like, what, and it's, dude, with the one, like, you are in the 1%. The fact that you're even thinking about this, like, the fact that you're thinking about how do I want to optimize my day off, puts you in the 1%. Like, so what I'm telling you that you may want to implement is like really high up there, and I think it would be a really cool thing for you to do. It would take you a long time, though, because you don't want to invest too much of your days off by doing this, right? Because it takes many, many hours to really do right. But I think if you start doing that, start writing down like a life vision, and then figuring out the areas of your life that you want to see completely, what would it look like? That was just to be amazing, right? We talked about your career. What would your relationship look like? What would that feel like? And then your days just fall right in line with, like, what that, right? Like, it's really cool when you think about it. So, like, for instance, your day off, like, when you, like, hanging out, you're like cooking, going outside, that's a very holistic day. That's awesome. I think that's the best. Now, how do we track that? Like, okay, so that's the next, like, that's the tactic stuff, which I think you're wise enough to know how to do that in your own right. Like, for me, I obviously use my planner and stuff. That's great.
But however you want to track that, that's fine. I think the real question for you is if we can mold all the other days that seem so jam packed. If there's little teeny things that you can do and make a really a very consistent pattern around those things, I think that might actually make your day off feel lighter, feels easier. Because no matter what the hell happens to it, your other days are really lined in. I think that might be. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I like that idea. And I was just, I mean, I'm thinking about stuff too where like, you know, it's funny. I actually found the job that I have right now through
Oh yeah,
higher ed. Yeah. So I'm yeah super familiar
yeah,
with it, and I definitely think I could be checking it more,
yeah,
and in line with that also like I have a very specific portfolio that I have set up.
right,
Like okay, here's 5 minutes of conducting, here's 10 minutes of rehearsal, here's 10 minutes of more rehearsal, here's a CV. I mean, like I one of my things to that I just have in the back of my mind that I was like, "Ah, I have to get to this. I have to update my CV because now I have all these new jobs. I have to update my new rep that I'm
right,
learning this semester with the band because there's stuff that I've never done. I have to update my rep list. I have to update
yeah,
like resume
yeah,
stuff, job experience. So that's like another thing that,
yeah.
yeah, I'm sure if I spent some time, after the restaurant, coming home, and instead of like, yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
no, no. Well, that's so be careful there though, because now what you mapped out though is your see, we don't for me, my vision of this is I know I've been kind of looking at time in a very mathematical and holistical way for a long time now. So I've gotten used to how long things actually take, right? Like it takes a lot longer than sometimes we want. And then when we get amped up about it, we want it to make it happen faster. So the reason I'm telling you this is because walk me through the Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. You start work. So it's a 10 to 2 shift at the radio station. So you get up at like say 9 o'clock, right? Whatever, right? Okay. So 10 to 2 at the radio station, you swing back home, grab a snack or whatever, and then you're at the restaurant at 4, right? 3. Oh, you were at there for 3 for pre okay. And then you're wrapping up at 10-ish. Okay. So that is a long day. It's a really, really long day. If you tell yourself that, okay, and you schedule a block time where before I go down, and just, put my feet up and watch Netflix or whatever, I'm going to spend an hour of like focused, whatever, where the night you just had at the restaurant, you were in the weeds like it was insane, tickets along the whole thing, and you just are dead. And now you told yourself you're going to go do like an hour worth of CV editing. It's so improbable that you're going to be consistent with it. On certain nights you will be, but you want to set up things that will be consistent with. No matter what you do, you're going to take time to find the consistency. It's going to take a while before you dial in, okay, this works, this doesn't. It's taken me years to dial in my morning routine. My morning routine for years, I was trying to go against the grain and do different things. So it takes time, but keep that in mind. You can definitely try it, but here's what I see for you. Just thinking, not being you, thinking outside the box. I want to go back to Monday though. So Monday you have your lessons, right? And during the day, what you do? What do you usually do Monday during the day?
Um, I mean, up until this week, it
A day
was
off.
just the radio, and then
Oh, you got the radio. Right,
driving.
right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So 10 to 2.
No, no,
Okay.
that's fine.
So yeah, so
Yeah, but
it's another days of work because again, when you have to, especially when you have to go somewhere, there's a commute. So it's another real days of work. Here's what I would do is I'm looking at the window from on Monday. There's a sliver of time that you can be fairly consistent with. Maybe say, from maybe like 3 o'clock to before your first lesson or something like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Another idea I had, if we're talking about like a consistent um, thing during the week, I don't know if this is like a weekend thing too, but like even Saturdays and Sundays, I'm free all before three
Right.
o'clock.
Right.
So from the moment I wake up to 2:30 when I leave the house. But yeah, Monday for sure. There's that like 2 hour block where
I forgot
I
about
don't
Saturday and
really.
Sunday too. Yeah. So yeah, the reason I'm asking you that I should have, now I've learned for my next call like this I have with somebody, I'm just gonna do a time audit up front because I could fill in the gaps easier. I think for you, I think it's not really worrying about your day off. I think it's the opposite. My opinion. I think it's a good idea to check those boxes and say I want to make sure my priorities for my day off is to make sure I get some time to hang with my girlfriend. I want to cook a nice meal. I want to spend time outside. If I have to do other things on that day, that's okay too. But if there's a 4 to 5 hour window where I'm able to do those three things, then I've won the day. That's all you need to do. And again, tactically, you can literally write it on a whiteboard or something and little check marks or whatever. Something that if that'll trigger you to actually do those things. Maybe literally have a block time. Like, I know it's a little hard to have a block time to hang out with your girlfriend, but like, if you just say the mornings, or up until like 12 o'clock is just going to be chilling with her, whatever. That's for you to know, right? You don't have to get that crazy with you. she'll she'll be like, "What are you doing? I'm out of here." um, but I think yes, finding the other times that we can figure out how to move everything forward and be consistent with that. And I would also suggest making sure that the block time that we have in wherever we choose it, say if it's just Saturday, Sunday, forget Monday, whatever, right? Saturday, Sunday before your restaurant gig. Um, I wouldn't say I'm going to wake up at 10 o'clock and I'm going to work till 2 o'clock on, I would just do an hour, hour and a half to start, something really small where you can like, whatever happens before then, but okay, at 11:30, I'm sitting down and I'm updating my CV. At 11:30 on Sunday, I'm sitting down and I'm reaching out to three band directors that are in the world that I want to grab a cup of coffee with, whether it's virtual, right? Because even that, just making those connections, right? I mean, that's that stuff, but like trying to get outside the box like that, I think that's an idea for you. I don't
Yeah,
know.
for sure.
um, yeah, man, it's really weird. It's like this this whole thing called time is just really funky because it's like sometimes it's just, oh man, it goes by so fast, but at the same time, it's like I need more of it. Yeah. Does any of that help you?
It definitely
Yeah.
does. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like you said, being able to say, um, you know, uh, even if I'm going to try not to do this, but even if I wake up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Wednesdays, hey, I still have time to go outside. I still have time to cook. I still have time to do that. Like the rest of the day doesn't have to be wasted,
Right.
or the day doesn't have to be a failure as a
Right.
whole because I can still get those things, those key elements
That's
done.
it. However you define your world is your choice. That's the beautiful thing. So the problem is when we look at Instagram and these idiots that are trying to put out the $1 million morning routine. It's like, yeah, but that doesn't work for everybody. Like, I have $1 million PM routine or something, like, um, and I think, and it looks very different than yours. So I think it's, there is all different levels and a scale of how we want to maximize and optimize our time. Because on the one hand, and I see both of them, on the one hand, if I have no responsibilities and no priorities, that's amazing. And yet life would get pretty boring pretty quick. And on the other hand, when I was almost in the it's so funny, Ben, I was almost in the exact schedule you were, because I was working at a restaurant. I was a permanent sub somewhere. I think it was, I forget what district, but I was doing Thursday through Monday shifts, night shifts at the restaurant, and then I would work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I think at the school district. Yeah, I think I had no days. I think there was not a single day where I didn't have anything.
Mhm.
Yeah, it didn't last. So that Wednesday is really important for you because you just need a day. So yeah, man, I get it.
Thanks so much for listening in today. I hope you gained some valuable insight from that call. If you are interested in becoming a coaching student of mine, please reach out. You can head over to the website and fill out the contact form. If you really enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review. That would be awesome. That would help tremendously, not only for, me becoming a better podcast host, but more importantly, more people finding the show. So thank you so much, and I will see you next week on the Upgrade My Rituals podcast.